Right. To that point, the goal would be, they're monitoring everything we do from, I mean, they have been forever with satellites and cameras everywhere. At some point, we have to take those tools and use them to capture the same crimes, or to capture these crimes that are, and we all walk around with a camera in our hand all the time now. So we should really be turning this on them and then actually making sure that there's some enforcement that takes place afterwards, right? The case that Michelle Walker is referring to in Illinois, the individual, the abusive party who was involved, they found 44,000 pieces of child pornography on his hard drive that was turned into the police. The police turned it over to their version of DHS or Child Protective Services, and they don't have an investigative team. Why did they get it? They didn't investigate it. The police know nothing about it. How could you find a computer with 44,000 pieces of child pornography and nobody did anything about it? No, worse than that. What they did is they awarded him custody of his two children, of which one of them is now dead, being, in my opinion, based on all the evidence we gathered, who was raped to death, a 2-year-old. Just for the record. And just to clarify something Kim said, she mentioned BLM, just so everybody knows that's Bureau of Land Management. Just because I don't want anyone to think that that's Black Lives Matter. So that's the land she's referring to. But, because that's what I thought of first time I heard her say it. But we have to be proactive. And one of the biggest problems that's happening right now, everyone sits back and says it's not my problem. Yes, it is. If nothing else, this staged event that's taking place right now in front of everybody on a world stage, as they force us to wear these slave masks to see if we'll comply, and they won't let us into places if we don't wear them, and they shame us, if we try to resist because of the scourge of humanity. They try to compare this ridiculous cold virus to the Spanish flu of 1918. At some point, we have to call their bluff. And we need to be proactively looking for these issues before they turn into this debacle if we're going to change things. So that's part of what this call is about, is we need to establish this network, and it needs to be a formidable force behind the people.
So I wanted to first say thank you to Kim for putting this together, for this movement, because we really need to have a push in a direction that allows people to say, hey, if I put my energies here, I've got support, I've got people that are all on the same page, and we're all going in the same direction. So thank you for that. And with my first question really is about this. There was some confusion about this, I guess, an oath that was given for Life Force, or a little document was put up and asked for us to sign and put these in. And I did that. And then I heard, oh, there's another document coming. Can you, clarify that a little bit?
I'll clarify on that. So the initial document was sent out to a very specific group, right? Very specific groups of militia. Now, apparently, the term militia is a target word, right? So, if you use that term, you get targeted as being like a terrorist organization. Now, the word militia is in the Constitution. It's in the Bill of Rights. It's also in the jurisprudence, right? It's in our Second Amendment for what can be organized, right? But to err on the side of caution, we didn't want to put that word in there to draw any negative attention or to give them any tools to use against us. So that was meant to be just for for specifically those groups who are used to that term. But even then, I sent it out before that, and then afterwards that was brought up. So we changed the document so that it doesn't use that. It just use task force or civilian defense. So it doesn't look like we're a group that's waging war. So
Is that new document, right? Because the message that I saw that said that Kim was working on another document. So, that's why I was asking Kim. And
yeah, yes,
so
Kim put that document out to.
is there?
I put out a version. I put out a version to Michelle a couple days ago, and I think Kim, you gave Michelle the whole description, right?
Ah, now I can unmute. I'm like, yeah, I did give the entire subscription. This is subscription, sorry. The entire document, and I kind of posted it in here. It sort of got lost in the chat. So we're going to tidy it up, make sure it looks really nice and send it out. The only reason why we wanted to change it, number one, is because that word, some people will say it's illegal, and I didn't want to take all of the hard work that everybody's putting into all of this and have them shut it down for one stupid word, because that's what the cabal does. We have to be tight, clean, concise, and make sure that we're covering all our people all the time. And that's why. The other document is also much more inclusive.
I just say I call those word bombs.
Yeah, I call them word bombs, that even though they don't mean anything, even though it says in the Constitution that it's legal, even though it says all these things, it doesn't matter when you go into their court, right? Or someone says, you just say the word, this is who I am, but I'm life force, right? I'm a concerned citizen worried about this child right here, and I am life force. And eventually life force is a force unto itself. And everybody's going to know if you're wearing that little lapel pin, or you're wearing, your kid's wearing the hat to school, or you got the t-shirt on, that they're being bullied, whatever it is, we're life force. I'm life force. No one's going to mess with you, because they're going to know we're a force to be reckoned with.
So what jurisdiction does this come under? Is there recognition from Trump, or how is that playing out? Because I'm hearing different things. So
well, what we have, right? She's right. Yeah, he's right. What we have with Trump is the availability for an executive order enforcement unit. The executive order enforcement unit can enforce the orders of the president, such as the anti-child trafficking law he just signed, and a bunch of other things, which does allow us a little bit more force in that particular area. But to be very clear, life force is for all of the people, all of the time. As far as the Trump thing is concerned, it does give him the capacity to enforce his own executive orders, because he has none right now. No one's listening. All these governors are doing their own thing, locking us down, wearing masks. I got this Mardi Gras mask I'm going to start wearing around that covers my nose, maybe some lipstick that covers my mouth, right? I'm tired of, it's so idiotic and so ridiculous. They just reopened my gym today. I was so excited. Then they told me I have to wear a mask while working out. And I said, no, thank you. I don't want to die. Thank you so much, but no, right? So
ridiculous.
Well, I know, but the executive order says I don't have to wear one. But okay, well, fine, then you can stay outside. They even have signs on all the stores now, that because a lot of people started doing that, and I'm in a small town. And then they said, well, okay, fine, well, you can get curbside pickup then. Call this phone number and get curbside pickup. You don't have to wear a mask, but we don't have to let you in either. So that's all the rage right around here now. So, I just want people to have a chance, because I think if we give all humanity a chance to thrive, we're going to have an amazing global society. And initially, everybody was for the life force, right? As far as the executive enforcement unit, until they shoved us underneath the Department of Justice with these badges that looked like, hi, I'm an Illuminati shill, right? They were awful looking. And I said, I don't think so. I said, I appreciate the offer, but we can just handle our own selves, and you can go figure out how you're going to go enforce anything. Because the Department of Justice doesn't even work for the United States government. They actually report to the Crown of England, which is not the Queen. It is Crown Corporation, which is Rothschild. And you'll have Benton's law firm, which is all over the world, and KPMG is another one. You'll have all these people all over you all the time. So I'm okay. We're good. We're the people. We're good. You know, we can defend ourselves. And those that can't, we will stand up for those people. You know, I don't really need to, that's where I left it. And then they said, well, they're going to put us as the postal enforcement unit. Well, if you've noticed, Congress is trying to pass that they are wanting to defund the post office, which they have not funded since 1895 anyway. So you know what? I don't really understand what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. That's the funny part about it. So if we wait for government approval for something, during an election year, if they approve us, then that's really great. If they don't, we are the people.
It would seem like that they're trying to divorce themselves from this business entity, which is the post office. Even if they haven't been funding it, it just gives the people the impression that now, oh well, that's an independent thing anymore. It's not part of the government.
Oh, they're going the opposite way. They're trying to bring it into the government now, but they don't know how to spin it in the media, so they're screwing it up. So Congress wants to have power of the pen because they know that the trust is going to come in and fund the post office, that we rebuilt the system from 1948 is what we did. We launched it so they have a complete and total financial system that is global because every country everywhere has post office, right? Where people can go and bank and do all the things. And we even opened accounts in there for the government. So we don't need the Treasury and Mnuchin, Mr. Black Sun, and we don't need the Fed. We got a third option for the president if he really wanted to execute on something for the people. Now, I understand he was threatened again today over this whole thing, but, we're keeping moving on. The Secret Service, never forget, the Secret Service's number one job is to protect the Fed and the Federal Reserve US dollar. It is not to protect the President of the United States. Since 1934 under the Federal Reserve Act. So make no mistake, they consider the protection of the Fed over the president. That's why I posted that Twitter on there that talked about Rothschild trying to take over the country again. Predominantly the Democratic Party is Rothschild and or Black Sun. Republicans historically have more Black Sun infiltration than the Democrats do.
Do they know this when they're at that level, when they're actually elected? Or do they get a briefing and say, hey, you're part of the Black Sun now? Did you know that?
Okay, I want you to look at Obama's face when he came out to give his acceptance speech. Then I want you to look at Trump's face and why he was an hour late coming out. Look at both their faces the night that they were elected, and you tell me if they know.
Well, yeah, I can see the president is a
black man turned white that day.
Yeah.
Okay. No, he did.
Yeah, I get it. No, he turned gray too.
Yeah, because that's when the non-operating on U.S. soil CIA comes in and tells you what the Black Sun wants you to do, and what you are going to do, and how they're going to control you. I mean, I heard it myself. Hey, Kim, just so you know, by the time you get $1 to one person other than a government or where we want you to put it, we're going to take over anyway. It's like, really?
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
So this is all these things, like, because I'm hopefully we'll be able to put this out. It's really important that people understand this is why things are stagnant, because there's no protection, right?
Yep.
And everybody's waiting for something. Everyone has a reason why there is no protection, right? There's a group of, well-trained mercenaries that are out there that when Kim and I first started talking, we were trying to talk to them, say, please stop protecting the people that are hunting the people, stop performing their dirty work. And a lot of those guys have accounts that are on that are held on the back ledger that they can't access since 2007. And, if they would just do the right thing, that was an option, right? So money wasn't the answer, because they just paid them in something else. They paid them in hope and power, telling them they were going to be able to do anything.
And blackmail.
And blackmail, right? It doesn't even matter if it's real blackmail. They can fabricate blackmail with deep fake, videos of whatever they want to create. So the key is that the people stand together and we stop pretending, waiting for somebody else to do the work. Because at the end of the day, everyone's sitting around saying, I know for a fact, even now in this chat, I just saw somebody post up there, hey, Kim, when's the global currency reset going to happen? We're all waiting for this magical moment when other people fix everything for us. But those things, they're not happening. You know, there's the savior that you're looking for is in you. And if you're ever going to find God, it's going to be in you.
Mm-hmm.
So
Agreed. Okay, next person, Coralie Witt has a question. Let me see if she's still here. Oh, she is. Hold on, let me unmute her. Well, I'm trying. It's not working. Okay. Well, I think she's trying and I'm trying, so it keeps going back and forth. Cora, I don't know. She's not.
There, I think I'm unmuted. Am I unmuted?
You are.
you're good.
Okay. All right. So my question was, so what happens? Do we have something in place for when we do rescue the children? Is there a safe house? I mean, I've been part of an underground railroad taking in women that have left abusive situations before. But it's been a long time. It's been probably 4 years since I had anybody that I was taking care of. And I'm in my 70s, so I'm getting older and have health problems, but I'm still love to help. So I'm just asking a stupid question.
Well, no, Cora, that's not a stupid question. You know, that's something that,
Want me to
you know,
answer?
yeah, go for it.
That's why we're going to release the pedophiles, because 100% of the purchases or the subscriptions to the pedophiles goes directly to exactly what you're talking about. So yes, there's a certain amount of setup and running of the apps and having people available all the time in different networks, but also we realize these people need new names. They need to be relocated. They need to, their children need new names and new social security numbers. That can all be done legally, 100%, without any interference, right? You can do that in some of the real small courts in small towns, and nobody's going to know anything about this as long as it's not one of their areas, right?
Yeah.
People they consider not relevant is where we go. So it'll give them enough to get set up, get jobs. You're about 90 days or so from that actually happening in a small court in a small town, somewhere off the grid, off the map, right? Where they don't care. They care about the big cities. They care about their special little towns where they do all their special little things. So.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Next one is Trisha Suri from California. Let's see.
Sorry.
She's Suri.
Sorry.
Okay, there you go.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
I didn't really have a question. I might have a question, but I just really
Okay.
wanted to say something. I really want to encourage everybody. I know I just kind of what Tank said about, you know, everybody thinks when are the funds coming out? And you know what? We have a life force energy about us that are way more important and way more powerful than any funds you got going on. Okay. So we need the people to stand up and start opening their mouths and saying something. And I know maybe when people are investigating things, they don't need to do that. But I'm talking about, like, I did a meeting with my OUR group here, and these women are mad, mostly women. There's like one guy on there, so I'm not trying to be sexist or anything. I'm just mostly women, but they're already angry and they already woke up. And so I just basically told them, you know, Lawful America, go find the link for the assembly and go on the call because you guys want to change the law. And they asked me to put it in the chat. You know, when I'm on the street, I start a conversation with someone. I'm like, you know, it's strange times we're living in, huh? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, if you want to make a difference here, they may not be, you know, I mean, at the level of coming on this meeting because they're not ready yet or they're not as informed. but they're going to get informed, and they're already a little bit awake. And then, you know, when I talk to people, and I just want to encourage everybody, you know, you have a lot more life force going for you, and we can do this. And I know that maybe some people are scared, but you have to understand, to me, from what I understand of it, they are scared. Otherwise, why would they hide everything? They're
Preach.
chicken. They're chicken, okay? They are. And if you shine a light on them, they will run like cockroaches. Cockroaches, they will go away. You have to stand up to them and open your mouth, though, okay? And I know there's a lot of people, well, they have more power than we do. They don't, especially if we all come together like Kim is telling us.
That's right.
She's
That's
one
right.
person. She has her own job. We have our own job, too. We have our own job, too. And it's not to sit around and wait for the funds to come. It's to get up and start talking. Because you know what? If we lived in a world where we really wanted to be, we wouldn't need funds. Funds is what got us here, but I'm not going to go into that. The bottom line is everything that you are afraid of is already happening around you. Did you ever think that people were going to run around wearing masks? And I'm the same way. I actually went to a Walmart one time, and I started walking in, and he goes, "Ma'am, you need to wear a mask." He acted like he was going to grab me, and I said, "Don't touch me." And I went right to where I was going, and I did my thing. But do you think I like doing that? I don't. I am not wearing a mask, okay? Unless I signed up for that, and I don't sign up for that. But anyway, bottom line is we need to be the ones. Who's going to do it for you? Who do you think is going to end this mask thing? Do you think Trump's going to come out of the air, or Kim's going to do it for you?
No
She's
one's
asking
listening
for your
anyway.
help. Yeah, you got to do it yourself.
Democrats already announced the other day that if they can't shut down every state again, full lockdown, then they're definitely going to shut down all the Democratic states. And they already started. I mean, literally, I heard that on Saturday night, I think, first time. And by Sunday afternoon, it was happening.
Yeah, and you know, I know nobody likes Facebook, and I don't either. I want to deactivate my Facebook account. But anyway, I went on Governor Newsom's site, and I told him, you know what? You're going to get served an indictment. I didn't care. Do you think that I was scared that he was going to come after me? I am done. I don't care anymore, because guess what? He's already doing this garbage to us. And how is he going to hurt me anymore? He's not. You know what? He stalled the mask order. He was going to make it go 18 months. Now they're at it again. Do I need to write another letter? Okay, I'll write it on all of them. I don't care. If I do it, it's one thing. But if you all stand up and say something and start doing it and start standing up to them, we can take this over. There is way more of us than there is of them. And we have source. We have God. They are not of God. They don't even get God. They don't get that at all. And they don't care about that. They think it's weakness. You know what? They're weak. They have to hide in the shadows. They are cockroaches. We need to shine a light on them. And I'm going to pass it over now.
Well, we need to hand out mask safety rules, right? Because a lot of people don't understand that even the surgeons have to take it off every 2 hours. That's mandated by the government, right? So if we handed out mask safety and basically kind of slid in there the fact that it's not protecting you or anybody else from shit, you know, in a nice way, special way, you know, we slide in, I call it a crap sandwich, right? You've got some bread, you know, we just understand, please take your mask off every 2 hours. If your employer, tell them that you need a 15-minute break every 2 hours. If your employer is requiring you to wear a mask, you know, and by the way, it doesn't do shit for you. But anyway, just so you know, we want you to be safe, right? So, I mean, we can hand out flyers like that at every Walmart.
Hopefully that wasn't the peanut butter sandwich Michelle was talking about. Just kidding.
That's different. Anyway. That's about management. That's about giving people instructions in a manner in which they understand. Because we are the leaders now. Everybody on this call, we got 100 people on this call. We probably would have had 500 if it was open, but we are the leaders. We don't need a leader. We don't need, you know, we're grown-ups, we're adults. We can pretty good at leading ourselves, and we can do this. Hand out flyers about mask safety. I just wanted you to know that I'm a nurse, or my friend's a nurse, my mom's a nurse, my you know, I was a medic in the military, and I want you to understand how important it is, right? So people need to understand the risks. They don't know. They think it's protecting them from something, and in reality, it's hurting them. In 100-degree heat, especially it's, you know, in North America right now, it's, you know, summertime. I mean, we need to let these people know. If
We
you
do.
feel faint, these are the signs of hypoxia right here, the early
Exactly.
signs. Take it off. You know,
Mhm.
we just need to get these people to understand what is happening. If then what the governor has to say becomes irrelevant. Because I can tell you right now that like the local market, let's call it local market or Walmart or whatever, we should be suing Walmart.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
governor, he's going to
Exactly.
get on there and talk shit about whatever his handlers have to say. And I apologize if I'm offending
Doesn't bother
anybody
me.
with my truck driver, but this just irritates me to no end.
I know.
Why are we all not writing letters to Walmart with mask safety information, telling them what they're doing? Because it's going to take you on a Saturday afternoon, it's going to take you 2 hours to get in and out of there. If you're going grocery shopping or whatever
You know
and you're
what?
doing that at
We should
Walmart.
go to Walmart and start handing out flyers. How about that?
Yeah, you
Right
can do
before they
that in
go
your
in the
local
store.
community.
And
Well,
when
I
they come out.
mentioned to people on another call, I'm like, well, all the schools are closed down, right? They've all got giant janitorial closets with toilet paper, and they're handing out lunches every day to the kids. So why is nobody handing out the toilet paper too? They're not going to use it. I
I
mean,
know.
how many rolls of toilet paper does the lunch staff have to use versus the entire school, right? So they should hand out their toilet paper. Nobody's going back to school. Now they just said basically that they're not going to go, no one's going back to school, especially in a Democratic state, until after the election, which means that nobody's going to school till next year. The
Exactly.
great toilet paper crisis of 2020 ends right there with just opening up janitorial closets at every school.
Exactly.
You
I just
know,
want to say one more thing.
it's so simple. And these are things you can do in your local community. Why are we listening to these people on the television and people even worse in these special houses, right? Just solve our own problems because they're not going to do it for us. They're just not.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
not what they're
I mean,
about.
if you are making a political decision to lock down your state, all the businesses in the state, okay, don't you think anybody's going to notice, especially United News Channel, that, hey, it's only the Democratic states that are closed down? Wow, COVID follows Democrats. It must have an AI nanobot in it because it only follows Democrats. Wow,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I just want to say one more thing, and that is that I told this story before, but I think it's very encouraging. And I live over here in a beach community, and I went down to the beach, and they had just opened it up, and don't have to wear a mask, but you have to social distance, and you can't be on the beach with a towel. And I'm like, what kind of BS is it? And so I'm walking down, and this lady comes up, and I was going to ask the lifeguards, why aren't the showers on? Because people need to have the showers on. They have everything else open. The bathrooms are open now, but the showers aren't on. And so I went to go ask the lifeguard a question, and this lady comes over and she's like, "Excuse me," to the lifeguard. She jumps right in front of me. "Excuse me, excuse me. They are not social distancing on the beach." And I want to know why. And I looked at her and I said, "No, excuse you. You just interrupted me one." And I said, "And how dare you? How dare you, with the hard times that people are going through, sit there and want to tell people that they can't be on the beach because they're holding hands or arm in arm?" I said, "Are you jealous? What is wrong with you?" "Well, I don't know what the rules are." I said, "Well, you know what? Let me tell you what the rules are. The Constitution says we have the right to assemble. So I'm going to call 40 people that I know because I'm from here and come to the beach. Okay? I'm going to tell them, come to the beach, bring your towels. We're all going to sit down." Okay? And so then I left and I went on a walk, and I was actually going to call people and start telling them to come down. And when I came back, there was literally like 50 people on the beach, and they were all sitting down together, and they were all holding hands, and nobody said anything. And from that day forward, they never told people they could not sit on the beach anymore. So you people understand this, that if we come together, I told people, I got on a call, I said, you know what, we should all get in a group and go into Walmart, like 20 of us, and just no masks, nothing, and just walk right through the door. And you know what? They will stop with the masks. I mean, maybe that, and then start telling people, I don't wear a mask because, it's super unhealthy, in addition to the fact that you don't have to wear a mask. Like the governor is not in charge. We are in charge of him. He's our servant. That's why we hired him. He doesn't get to have a say. Okay. So, but other than that, it's very unhealthy. So I just thought it was a miracle when I came back. I was going to call people. I didn't have to. There were people on the beach, but just because I spoke up and I said something, it changed everything. It really did. And we all have the power to do that. You all have the power to do that. So you may think that we're the little guy. Well, we are not. We're huge. That's all I wanted to say.
No, I agree with you. And that's all people need to realize. You are the savior. Together,
Exactly.
everyone is the savior. And all we need to do is just get a little help from our friends, right? Like the song says.
Exactly.
And
We're
that's
all
it.
friends here.
Yeah,
right.
that's it. You know, the trained people can protect the innocent and the children. You know, we're all out there trying, right? But we need to kind of, that's why United News Channel is so important. It's taking a while, and I understand everybody's upset, but we're trying to make it so we look so mainstream and make ourselves available, and then people will take it. Because if you're on YouTube and you're talking, there are some people listening some of the time, and the people that know to even look for that type of talk, right? But if you're looking mainstream and you're coming out with a channel that's better and cheaper and everything than Netflix, and you've got original content, you've got great movies, you've got all kinds of stuff, you know, people are going to gravitate to it. You know, they're going to know there's real news out there. I mean, I remember, I'll never forget, I was in Russia. I was in Moscow. And the only English speaking news channel other than CNN there is RT. Well, I didn't know anything about RT at the time. This is first time, I don't know, 10 years ago, something like that. But, so I fell asleep watching RT, and I was kind of half awake, half asleep in the morning, and I hear Max Kaiser on the television talking about the Rothschilds and the banksters and this. I mean, I almost fell out of the bed. I was like, this is on television. Holy crap. I'm not crazy. You know, I'm over here doing whatever, but I'm like, I don't know why. It just hit me like a ton of bricks because it was on the TV that Max Kaiser was talking about these people. And that was back when he actually did. Now he just talks a bunch of crap. But at that point in time, you know, he was telling all this stuff. And I was like, now it must be true, you know?
Yep.
So, you know, for what it is or what it isn't, we also have a partnership with a company called AmpStream. And what AmpStream does is they have it should be, hopefully they'll launch it this week, but 7,000 channels worldwide for, I think it's $50 a month or $49 a month. And you can stream it on your television, your smart TV, you can stream it on your computer, you can stream it on your phone. You know, they give you so many devices per, you know, in that package, and then you can pay $10 for additional 4 devices or whatever it is. But they're offering us a channel on there. You know, but we got to ramp up to the point where we have enough people talking all the time and enough series and enough shows where we can run 24 hours a day, because right now we've got, you know, Kim Tang, possibly Bet Talks that, you know, is going to come on board with us, and, you know, a few other people. Michelle's got a law show, an education show. We have a show called Declassified, show called The Real History. So we are, you know, between building websites, skinning apps, we've got our graphics and stuff that we're cutting together, trailers and promos and all this kind of stuff. We need all our transitions in place. So we do have a professional video mixing software that news stations use all around the world. It's not like we're using anything different. And you'll be impressed with the quality. You know, we've worked really hard to get us to this point. You know, we need enough content to run 24 hours a day on the channel. But it's there, it's available, it's free to us. Nobody's asking us to pay for it. Our apps and stuff like that.
Timing.
Yep, our apps, you know, some of the video stuff was like upwards of $1,500, $2,000. Our legal structure, we are completely protected legally with a double-blind DAPT, and then we have several corporations, and each one holds different assets, and I'm not going to go into it on a Zoom call, especially because I hate Zoom, but, you know, the structure is there to protect us, right? Where for people that participate, we're offering venture capital as sweat equity. So we're not expecting people to necessarily contribute to get preferred stock. You know, we're looking for venture capitalists that are willing to give up their time to come forward. We do have several ROIs, return on investments in there too, where we have, for example, a company that makes a silent advertising app. So, you know, if you're talking about baking bread and there's a flour you're using that's all organic and doesn't have gluten and makes you healthy, it'll just silently pop up on your phone like your news feed does, and it will just say, buy Bob's flour here. And then you just click it and automatically it's bought, and it's going to ship it to your shipping address that you'd already put in your phone. So if there's a trailer for Mary's Muffin Show, and then it'll just show up on your phone. Oh, I can watch Mary Muffin Show at 2:00 on Thursdays. That's great. Or, oh, look, there's a movie, we mentioned a movie, like we have the original content of what really happened to Marilyn Monroe as an example, and they couldn't get a distributorship to actually put it in any theater. So this is an already filmed documentary. No one would distribute the film because of what she said, right? What they said in the film. So, it'll pop right up on your phone. Oh, pay-per-view, $4.99, Marilyn Monroe movie, right? So it comes right up on your phone. You don't have any advertising interruption. We do have a revenue share off of that as well. So we're doing this because we're giving people a service, yes, and we're giving you original content that you wouldn't see anywhere else. But by the same token, all of these donations are going to you, the people. They're going to the assemblies. They're going to the people that subscribe. AmpStream has offered us a revenue stream too for promoting their service on our app. So premium subscription gets you, all our stuff and their stuff and everybody's stuff, right? So it's not that we're not offering something that is important and good for the people, but by the same token, I know everybody's yelling at us like, well, now we're going to have to pay for real news. Well, not really. But we have to pay these people that are fighting child trafficking. They need gas in their car to even sit there on the corner and in some yarn to knit or whatever you're doing, right? To look unsuspecting. But, we need to be able to give these people an option. The app doesn't run itself, right? And sure, we have great people that are willing to volunteer, but if we could have some of these guys and ladies full time, we could give them a paycheck and then they could do this full time, and then we have more people. So it's not just a revenue stream like, oh, we're going to be lifestyles of the rich and famous here, but it also goes to support every single person on this call right now and all the people that are going to listen to it afterwards. I know I am a business person. I've built 3 companies. I know how to do this. So just bear with us. I've never skinned an app before or yesterday. I now have a new skill. Never used After Effects, Pro, whatever the heck it is called, Premiere Pro, video cutting, audio splitting. Now I know that you have to have a song. If you're going to use a mainstream song, you can use 3 seconds of it. It's called the 3-second rule. It's kind of like when you drop your food on the floor. So you can use 3 seconds of the song only in your clip, and then you don't have to pay for the $1,500 a second or whatever the heck it is to use that song. So, we're learning all the ins and outs. We're riding in the gray all the way. But we got education coming out. We've got the law education you guys are looking for. Michelle's going to start teaching everybody all these packages, everything you can do. So then we'll have hundreds of people that can do what Michelle does. And I think that that's going to be awesome for the entire country and the world, because now we're going to have Lawful Planet coming out soon to all of you as well.
Kim, talk about like the accounting stuff that you talked about before.
Which one?
About
which hat would you like me to put on? Are we talking about UNC? Are we talking about Life Force?
About Steven's potential role that you wanted him to have shows on. I know you wanted to have shows on real history.
Oh yeah, we have a guy on our team who is literally like the movie The Accountant. He used to be a forensic FBI accountant. He is well versed. He's like got an audiographic and photographic memory. He can tell you about laws from 10,000 years ago. He's going to be also coming on. We're going to be interviewing him from time to time with tax questions. I had no idea there was an IRS advocate office where you could actually get your IRS debt written off if you were insolvent until this guy told me, for a friend of mine. He'll go back and use every loophole, every law. He is fantastic. And he is on our staff. So he's willing to come forward and help everybody too with that aspect of it. He's doing all our accounting for us. He'll be issuing all our stock certificates, keeping the stock books, all the rolls for everyone. You know, he is actually a doctor. He teaches at, he's a professor at a university as well. So he does teach tax law, accounting law. He teaches accounting, forensic accounting. So really good guy to have on our team. So if anybody has any issues, like you're in Lawful America with that type of thing, he can definitely help you if you put together a list of questions from your particular group. I mean, we can have him answer all your questions, help you out. Right now, the IRS is virtually almost shut down, except for collections, of course, because that, even though they weren't supposed to be collecting, they were still collecting. They were still charging student loan payments too.
I have a question, Kim, about that. Student loans were taken off people's credit reports and then they were put back on.
Oh, I'm sure. Nobody knows what they're doing. And it wasn't until some crazy blonde lady called the friend of hers at the White House just to let the president know that they're still taking garnishments for student loans out of people's paychecks. And then it
Man,
finally stopped. And then they issued that letter saying no student loan payments till September 30th.
Of next year. Yeah, so I actually had mine removed.
No, of this year.
Oh, they put an automatic like delay on mine till next year. First they got removed, then they got put on back on. So back on, they were removed from credit reports and then now they're back on.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know if you knew that. So I thought I'd ask if, can we just get them removed?
Again, like I said, you know, they're using the portfolios as leverage. Basically, you're now going to be speaking Chinese when calling customer service after what Mnuchin did with all the student loans. So, you know, Mnuchin has been busy trying to sell the United States off to China now for several months just to avoid Kim. Yep,
Wow.
and he wants to, the whole reason why he suggested another stimulus payment wasn't to help all y'all out. It was to actually provide more, you know, they've already leveraged all the pensions. They've already leveraged all of these student loan portfolio. They've already leveraged all these mortgage portfolios. Leverage through BlackRock, and then BlackRock goes and collects from the Chinese, who then in turn call me and say, hey, we need money. I'm like, yeah, right, like I'm gonna fund this operation. Like, I know what you're doing. They're selling the United States to China for free. And that the deep state of China has taken everything from the Chinese government. Hong Kong is broke. Why do you think they keep riding there? You think they're upset about something? No, it's because Hong Kong was the center for the Black Sun, or the Black Dragon of China.
Oh, really?
So yeah. So the only thing that we've got people that I know for sure that I can actually secure 100% is our in-ground resources. As far as everything else that they're selling off, you know, if the government wants to go speak to Chinese, maybe we should just move them all to China. I'm not really sure, and just govern ourselves. I mean, maybe that'd be better. You know, at this point, you know.
Wow. Okay, that's incredible.
Sorry,
Andrea,
a little bit of my frustration of my last couple days, so sorry.
no, you're great. This is awesome. Thank you for the info. Andrea Byro has a question, so I'm going to unmute her. The unmute button does not appear to be working very well.
Well, you said people have to unmute themselves.
Oh, there they are. Okay, she's
Lisa,
unmuted
you're trying
now.
to give us virtual mask?
No, it's just delayed. Like, I think it's just delayed. So I click it, and by the time it goes back on, it re-clicks off. So I think she's free now, Andrea.
Hi, good evening. My name is Andrea Bureau. I'm the secretary for the New York Assembly. Kim, you mentioned earlier in the call regarding the word militia as being a word, and that's fairly accurate. I just want to get clarification on where it should not be used, since I'm going to be responsible for drafting the papers and notices in New York.
I would not use it in any official document. If you're having a private conversation with a group of people, that's one thing. And I'm not against in any way, shape, or form what the militias are actually doing. I think they're right. But I can't give the cabal an inch. I can't give the DOJ an inch. I can't give Crown an inch when it comes to the lives of the people that are trying to do something good. And the more you try to do something good, the more they're going to try to pick you apart. So I'm just saying that don't give them an inch. Does it matter if we call us Barnum and Bailey Circus? You know, I mean, as long as we're doing the job and getting it done, you know, people call me a lot of things all over the internet all the time, and on every damn channel. I don't care. I know what I'm doing. You know, I know what I'm doing. And I don't need to justify that. I'm not selling these people anything. You know, yeah, I'm guarding a bunch of stuff and you know, I've been a lot of places doing that around the world. It's not like I've been sitting in this armchair the whole time. You know, I have an electronic issue with the SQL servers and the banking system that I'm really trying to push through. And there's not a human being in those banks that are going to help any of us. Not even one. You know, the ones that probably would help us don't know. And the ones that could help us definitely won't. So, you know, we're doing everything we possibly can to get that money through. Digital money, you know, we've got a lot of physical assets that also are being protected. And you know, we're just doing the best we can. But as far as the words that we say, don't help them. That's all I'm saying. Don't give them an inch. Don't give them a millimeter to stop you from saving one kid, to stop somebody from being vaccinated, to stop someone from being wrongfully arrested and set up, to stop the fake CNN show of, you know, insert, you know, Muslim, black, orange, yellow, Chinese national, Korean national person, victim here, right? So we can incite the other side over here. You know, all they do is they create the problem and they be the solution. You know, this is the same thing. They keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting it to yield the same result as it did in the past. And that's where we all come in, because we can educate these people. You know, I've written a whole article about how exactly they start a war, civil or otherwise. You know, they incite the veterans by doing this. They incite white people by doing that. They incite black people by doing this. And meanwhile, back at the ranch, you know, $60 million, $100 million is going to Black Lives Matter. And okay, well, how many African-American businesses were hurt by COVID shutdown? Lots. Why is nobody helping them with that $100 million? You know, why is nobody maybe supporting the revitalization of the historical black colleges? Why is nobody doing that with that $100 million? That's a lot of kids that can go to university for 4 years. You know, why are they not doing it? Where's the money going? Are there actually, you know, African-American lives that are being helped with this money? I don't really see that, but I see the Democratic Party getting some pretty fancy slave owner stoles, though. That was kind of nice, or a kente cloth.
Jeez.
Insulting in the entire continent, not just the last time they tried to do something in another culture, you know, where Hillary Clinton hit the reset button that actually said overcharged and overloaded. Okay, well, are they just going to do this every election year, or, you know, I don't know. You know, I can't, there's a pill for crazy. There's no pill for stupid. And I think we just need to, like, you know, move on with our lives, because if we keep following these people, we're just going to end up in this endless cycle of nothingness.
Yeah, agreed.
We are making strides with our own independent servers and changing of things, and the implementation of Omega, and the rebuilding of the base platforms of all of the systems, not just the financial system. And, you know, then I'm coming back over here and I'm building a website and just getting an app. You know, it's like I'm doing, you know, we're doing the best that we can with what we've got, and we will have our own financial system. as you noticed, if you read the Life Force letter, and if you haven't, you will, but there's a whole section in there for a financial think tank. What do we want our financial system to look like? How do we want to bank? Do we want to bank at all? Do we want to have currencies at all? What do we want to have? How do we want to exchange goods and services with each other in a manner that the whole world is going to understand? You know, and it may take us, you know, 10 years or 20 years to go in baby steps to get the rest of the people that haven't woken up on where we get to, but where are we going? You know, we have to have a map of where we want to be. So there's a think tank that needs to form for all matters financial. What can we do that the average everyday person will understand and accept? If you take away the dollar and you put in something else, people are going to wonder what's going on, because it'll be the first time they've ever seen such a large change in 2 generations. But it's not that it's not possible. You know, do we want to just exchange gold? You know, I don't know if you know this, but did you know the post office is a bullion bank? Back during the gold rush, you could exchange your gold for currency at the time. You can store your gold in the post office. So there's a lot of different things that we could do, but do we need to be dependent on the post office? You know, I'm not so sure I really want to do that either, because nobody's listening to those people, and they only report to the executive branch of the United States. So they don't even, I mean, just the post office in the United States. I mean, every country has their own post office, which eventually all is connected by the UPU, which is the Universal Postal Union, based out of, unfortunately, Switzerland, but it's there. So, you know, there's a lot of things that we can do as people. If we're just not, what if we're not banking at Bank of America anymore? And I don't have to talk to those board members who have made 9,000 deals with not only myself, but also with the President of the United States, that they would actually credit the account that I was transferring our administrative fees to. And they ignored the President of the United States, and they certainly ignored Kim. Because
Yep.
why? Because Kim had no enforcement unit to go in to the office of the bank. I actually even sent 2 agency guys from Carlisle. Okay, they were not getting paid anymore by the Bush Foundation, so they wanted a job. So I said, fine, 10% of the money, if you can get them to clear it, you know, and it was for a project in New York running about $5 billion, right? And so I sent them in there. They saw the money on the screen, and then Langley called them and told them to get out because they already have their own people there. They said, well, we're here on a private basis. We're not here on a public basis. Well, you've got Langley in the back office of JP Morgan Chase, that's where we were at the time, and you had Langley coming in. So Langley was fighting Langley on who was going to do what, and then they made the other Langley guys sit outside, and then in came the Fed, the World Bank, and the IMF, all trying to take that money. You know, right in the back office of the bank, in the data center. And I'm like, well, now I got to know that the back office of the bank is not going to help me, so I have to make it past the back office. Okay, rest of the gatekeeper program codes. You know, there's a whole gatekeeper program that requires 26 codes after it leaves the back system to get to the front system, to make it through a system that was created in 1948, so massive underneath the city of Tel Aviv in Israel, that runs the front side of the American banking system. Did you know that? Bet you didn't. It's not there anymore. That ended in December. But anyway,
Nobody
it
knows
was
that,
there.
Kim.
What?
Nobody knows that. Nobody knows that stuff but you. And
I mean,
the
I can
people
tell
running
you,
it,
I can
you know?
tell you stories. You know, I was talking to Michelle on a different call the other day. You know, I hiked 10 miles up mountains in China, to and fro. I've stood in front of the Ark of the Covenant. I've been to mountains all over the place. I've been to mountains in the United States. I've seen things that you would be shocked that I've seen. Portals, underground tunnels, DUMBs, Apache helicopters coming out of nowhere. You know, it's not like I'm sitting here writing letters on an internet blog about, you know, oh, you know, this is going to happen or that's going to happen. You know, I've done it. I am doing it. I'm still here. You know, I've poisoned 3 times. You know, what kind of stories do you guys want to know? What do you want to hear? Maybe I'm not a veteran and maybe I've never stood in some of the places that unfortunately some of you have been to, but you know, I'm not the military. I never had an army. I never had anybody to back me up. I'm like Jane Blonde running around the planet by myself.
Yep.
So,
And even people that have been brought, I mean, I've brought Kim a lot of people over the years. Over the past few years. And I can tell you that I sat in my car with a CIA agent who is someone that had a huge part in designing the world financial system, whose name's all over it, who had like a similar knowledge to Kim and similar gifts, you know, and he was with us the whole way.
the
Working with us.
Majestic 12 sat in the car with Tank.
Yeah, right. And then
Yeah.
he turned around and he was and he betrayed us. I watched it happen. There was no reason. They just bought him off. They had him. They were in his head.
No, I think it was his nephew.
Yeah,
Was
his
in
nephew
prison?
was at Riker. It was at Rikers, right?
Yeah, Riker
Nephew was at
prison for
Rikers.
something or other. And they basically threatened him. What happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just.
They always
using that
go
as a
for the
point.
kids.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, Bank of America, we were transferring, what was it, like $180 million in to Bank of America for funding to set up, headquarters for Create Change and somebody else's things, like a bunch of things like that. And they literally,
The Colonel's PTSD Veterans Patriot Military Family Foundation.
yep.
Bank of America blocked that.
And he was watching it happen. He was watching the money come in and then
Yes.
watching them steal it.
Yep.
And he was a colonel.
Yep.
So
Yep. He still advises on the board of a lot of the Department of Defense departments. He's on the National Emergency something or other it's called. Please forgive me. I don't know the name of the department. He still is an advisor, AFRICOM, SOCOM. I mean, he's still, he's an older guy. He's almost 70, but, he's still quite active in the DoD community. He's still owed money for building schools, almost $3 million for building schools in Iraq. He's been owed that money now for over 10 years.
Yep.
He has a contractor, a general contractor company that's been all around the world building. They build in Kuwait, and after Desert Storm, and a number of different areas. And he's still owed money, and they're not paying him for his contracts. And the guy's house is in foreclosure now. Isn't that great? And he's still out there raising money because he has a program that works for PTSD.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that will benefit the people, and veterans are a particular hot point. Everything around the veterans is designed to have them die off, kill themselves off.
Special CI operatives have had cybergenetic limb replacements since the late 70s, early 80s. However, it's not offered to veterans when they have their arm or leg blown off. There's now a guy out of MIT. I mean, you can't even tell. I've seen one. I've touched it. You can't even tell, other than the skin looks a little bit strange. But I mean, and that was done in the 1980s. Why is that not available to all of you? I mean, that's ridiculous.
Kim, you might talk about that the chamber that you talked about with for cellular regeneration. I mean, as long as you're,
Sure, it's all volts, no amps, specific metals in a diode form. That's why it's round, and you can sleep in it. And it does cellular regeneration, will regenerate organs. Doesn't allow for certain types of, non-healthy cells to be regenerated. Yeah, it does make you look younger, and I understand everybody talks about that, but I've actually seen a particular person, like me, that basically was pronounced dead and was in there for 3 days and still walking around to this day. So yeah. You know, we just, all I'm asking, I guess, is of the veterans that are on the call today is I do understand these things are necessary. We do have a plan for research and development centers, and that includes medical research and development centers. There, we can actually regenerate limbs. All you need is a few stem cells. You can do 3D printing of organs and all kinds of things. So to answer your question, could they fix your back and hands? Yes, they can. Those technologies are existing. They are in use in other countries. I have seen them. There is no reason why it's not available to anyone. And it's not available to anyone because we don't have you. Fighting for those scientists, protecting those research and development centers, doing all the things that we can possibly do. I mean, we have the formulas for making gold out of iron. It's been done. It can be done. We can have all we want. We don't need them. It'll take a few different key minerals that are fairly readily available for us to have. And we can start on a small scale as big as your coffee table. We can just start making it. No problem. You know, we don't need their stuff. We don't need to mine. We don't need to, you know, have caustic methodologies of destroying the planet. We'll just make it in a lab if it's important to you. It's big, it's just shiny rocks. So, you know, we need protection. We can't do it without you. We cannot do it without protection. They're going to kill these scientists. They're going to kill these doctors that are providing wellness to people. I have spoken to a lady today who actually is planning on opening a holistic dentist office. So they're very careful about the particular way they take the mercury fillings out of your mouth to make sure that you're not inhaling the poison. I mean, there's so much we can do together, but enforcement is so critical. We can't go any further without it. We need protection. And I know we don't have a lot of money to afford it, and hopefully we will soon, but I'm just asking. I'm actually, I asked for this call because I'm begging. You know, an hour a week, 2 hours a week, whatever you can do, you know, to just make sure that these people are safe would be great. Thank you.
Lisa, you know what?
What?
I would like to end things there.
Okay.
Kim, if
There are
that's
four
okay.
hands up, so I'm just Thomas Melville, Dan Estella, and Scott Fisher.
Oh,
So
no, go ahead. Thomas is here. No, go ahead,
yeah,
Tom.
he's had his hand raised, so I'm gonna lower that and unmute him if that's okay,
Sure.
and then we'll end there. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. He seems to have disappeared. Don't know what happened to Tom. As soon as I unmuted him, he disappeared. So. All right. Well, Tank, you want to end it there? We can if he doesn't call back in.
Kim, is that okay with you? I just feel like that is kind of the crux of what you called us for. And I would like to make sure that the message gets out every place as soon as possible. Is there anything else you want to cover?
I got masked.
She went, there she is.
Oh.
Okay. I don't know how that's happening because I don't know if she went off camera and muted. Okay. There you go.
Well, I went off camera because I went to get some water and I didn't want to make everybody dizzy. Yeah. No, it's fine. Go ahead and wrap it up.
Yeah. So, Kim, thank you so much for making yourself a public presence that's available. You know, I'm going to try. You know, whenever I can get Kim to do this, I'd rather keep these kind of sessions to like 2 hours, so it's possible. You know, so that we can do this and keep it coming. Kim is a literally in just a endless supply of information and knowledge, and I try to, whenever I can remember things, I try to get her to, you know, I always love to get her to talk about it because I know that not everybody has had that chance. So it's very important that when Kim is saying she's begging the Veterans.
Mr.
Oh.
Melville can't unmute.
He cannot, or he can.
He's texting. I can't unmute. I'm still here. Hello.
Hey, Tom. There he is.
There it is. I'm sorry, guys. I see all the wonderful faces. I'm scrolling through all the pictures and all the people here who are veterans, I believe, and patriots.
Tom is our White House insider for people that don't know. Tom has been fighting with the Secret Service and the White House and been all over.
Yeah. So I just want to. I was interested. You were telling stories about transfer of monies, and I thought they would want to know about the coronavirus funding that we tried to do, with with the president and Pelosi and Mnuchin. Like me to go through that a little bit?
Yeah, Tom, you got a couple experiences you could talk about, right? Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, absolutely.
Can you hear you? What'd you say?
Well, so I've known Kim for a very long time. I have my special talents. Kim and I work together very well on many projects. I've been involved in the government level of things for a very long time. Inside, outside, special favors for people in and out of the government, helping. Owed a lot of favors, never received any of them back after I've done favors, but it's okay. So I just wanted to explain, Kim is a remarkable woman. She has the ability to just help so many people, and with United News Network and Lifeforce, and you can see my hat, I'm wearing the logo, you can see my hat. That's going to be the logo and the Lifeforce. I just wanted you guys to see it, because we have this, and we have shirts that you can order soon, right, Tank? Soon?
Yeah, very soon. Yeah, actually, matter of fact, I'll have it set up tonight.
Very good, very good. All right, so Kim actually tried to fund the coronavirus bill. That we know that there was some bills going through Congress, bill session phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. The first phase was about 365 billion, which was a negotiation between Mnuchin, Kim, Pelosi of all people, and the president, because we made the president aware that there was a presidential emergency fund for things just like the coronavirus and things like that to help that he has access to. So we tried to, Kim was gracious enough to get on the phone with these people and show them exactly the money that was available. The funds were there. She showed them everything available, and they said, okay, let's do this. And so we said, okay, well, obviously we want the 2%, and the trust gets 2% because we know that 365 billion is going to go, out the window. And so we want at least 2% so we can buy PPE or, help the government or help others in some form or fashion. So, so Kim transferred the money into U.S. Treasury.
For the people.
For the people, yes. So Kim transferred the funds in U.S. Treasury, and there it stood blocked until they released the 2% in an account that was sent. What was it? It was Bank of America, I think it was sent.
Yep.
So when Pelosi and Mnuchin and the president, when she transferred the funds, and Pelosi said, what else? What else do we have to do for it? I guess because she's so used to jumping through hoops and begging on her knees for money, and it was that easy just to transfer it and get it done. So she was one of our biggest advocates. So on that conversation, Kim was gracious enough to show them that there was $1.8 trillion in the presidential emergency fund available to fund the coronavirus bills. Apparently, so as we were doing that,
the very next day, the bill went up to 1.8. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, the very next day it went up to 1.8, and then ultimately it went to 2.2 trillion. I don't know why, but it went to 2.2 trillion. But so knowing that the funds were there, Pelosi ran around the Congress and Senate, all her friends and senators and congressmen, and said, let's bipartisan work to get this done. And they said, okay, no problem. And she was our biggest fan. So at that point, we tried to get them to release the 2% that went to Bank of America, and they just didn't do it. I called on friends from Bank of America. I think Mnuchin called Moynihan, who's the CEO of Bank of America. I called a few friends myself, board members of the banks and others, to try to get this money released, and they just refused not to not release these funds. So that being said, Kim decided that after I think it was 48 hours we waited, Kim, we decided that we weren't going to do this and that we were just pulling the money back. So now
No.
Pelosi, I'm sorry, go ahead.
There's a question on here from Elise that I wanted to answer. I have paid $1.479 trillion of actual United States Department of Treasury notes off to China. So I did get us out of debt to China. We no longer owe money to China. And I also paid off when the Treasury Department was under threat by the Fed for secret bankruptcy again. I paid off $196 trillion of Fed debt from myself to myself and released all the paid off Treasury notes. So to answer your question, we are out of debt. The government's out of debt, but the people aren't getting anything. So we held firm this time. We said our 2% deposited, or you can go fund your bills somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead, continue with the story, Tom.
Yeah. So and I can corroborate. I can absolutely validate that we are definitely out of debt. We have no debt, and we don't know anything to anybody. And obviously, the politicians and the people, the people in power right now, the Rothschilds, and these don't want us to be out of debt for all the reasons. Check the boxes, right? So now Pelosi, our biggest advocate, is running around Congress and Senate, and we would have had a lot of bipartisan help with the virus bill, with the bills, the coronavirus bill, and all of that, and it didn't work. But it goes to show you that we are trying. Kim is trying to do everything she possibly can to help and to try to get money to the people in any way possible, and there is just no help from the banks, the Fed. The president is absolutely trying to, because on the second go around, he actually called Chase Bank to ask them to transfer or to clear funds for us, and they agreed. But it did not happen again. I guess somebody made a phone call and it did not happen again. And so Kim and I will keep trying, because we have to. We can't turn back. We need to get this moving. I think UNC is going to be wonderful. Life Force is going to be a whole institution on its own. It is backed by the president. It is backed by many individuals in Congress and Senate that I have spoken to. And so we are going to push this to the best of our abilities to get the right clearance levels, the right backing from the government, and to really set this thing off and make it as best we can to help the people. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you for everything you're doing to try to help those crazy people. I don't. Are we still going to Washington this week?
I will be. I'm trying to set the plans to do that. Yes.
Okay. Wasn't sure. Last week they were gonna see. That's what they've kind of. They're gonna do something. They're not gonna do something. I've had Trump coming here several times. He gets diverted on purpose for a face-to-face meeting. They don't want the man getting too much truth. They're trying to keep him as segregated as possible. This has happened about 10 times to us now. The Secret Service called about an hour before a roundtable meeting last week and said, "Hey, Tom, just want to make sure you're on your way." And he's like, "On my way where?" No one calls us ahead of time and tells us we're supposed to be somewhere on purpose. I mean, even if Tom had wings, he couldn't have made it to the White House for that roundtable meeting on time, because it was about an hour and he's in New York. So no way. you know, they're just playing games, and you know, it's not Trump, you know, but he's in a sea of agency guys and whatever that all have a different agenda, and they're pushing the COVID agenda. They're pushing, you know, all these different personal agendas based on which society they belong to, whether it's Rothschilds or the Black Sun or Order of the Black Sun. You know,
Which one of those advocates for the people?
none.
None, right?
No,
My
I've
bad.
actually had conversations with both sides. The Rothschilds actually, that blew up. Oh, remember that day, Tom, when I was on the phone with the third highest person in the Rothschild coven, and they told me that the RV was carrots for jackasses, and laughed. And then, oh my gosh, all the Pentagon people that were listening to that call, all of the people that had dinar just went ballistic on Rothschild. And then I've had many other people on the phone with, you know, the Black Sun, where they're just saying that people are, you know, are just good little employees of the system. And if they step out of line, I mean, I can tell you all kinds of stories. You got questions on what's going on really in Afghanistan, Iraq, the fact that our team stopped 84 canisters of biological weapons on the border of Russia and Kazakhstan that actually had George Soros's company name as on the bill of lading 72 hours ago. You know, we're doing the job, but you know, we need people. We need the people to come up too, because they're going down right now. You can see it everywhere. You know, their media's glitching. I call it glitching. You know, Biden gets on TV and said 120 million deaths of COVID in the United States. Don't you think we'd all realize if half the population of the United States was missing on like one day? You know, surely be less traffic in California or something. You know, somebody would have noticed something. But you know, he does. That's what I'm trying to say is like, these are the people that are supposed to be our leaders. We need to not focus so much on those people, and we need to focus on the lady, the man, and the child standing next to you, because that's how it's going to get done. We have more common sense than they do. We have more capacity to think for ourselves than they do, and they are afraid of us when we are the majority and we're all swinging the same bat. That's what life force is supposed to be. And you don't have to be, you know, military capable, you don't have to be protection capable, but you can be cyber capable, you can be a spotter, you can do all kinds of things to help protect the people. And it doesn't cost money. It costs an hour of your time or 2 hours a week or whatever you have time for. You know, make suggestions to us. This is an operation on saving humanity. We're
That's right.
listening. We want to listen to you. We want to listen to your suggestions. What kind of lawful information is it that you need that will make a difference for the people in your community? You know, Michelle's here to help. Tank's here to help. Tom's here to help. You need a message get to the White House. You think that it's going to make a difference in the lives of all the people in your community? Great, we can get that message delivered.
Do it.
You know, but Trump's got no enforcement. You know, he can pass all the executive orders under the National Emergency Act he wants. There's no enforcement. And by the way, Gitmo, just for the person that posted that up there, Gitmo is a Nazi concentration camp where underneath there is a dumb that actually experiments on these people. That's what it is. They actually do human organ harvesting at Gitmo, and then they give their elite transplants and the medical facility that is underground there. So you want to send people to Gitmo? We should send them to Gitmo. But then they're going to get revitalized with all this advanced technology that only they have access to. But yes, that's true.
Kim,
yeah.
on that note, in the world of changing things on our level, when we get to the point where Life Force, we've established these groups in the different all the different counties and towns and things of that nature, and you have the key members key individuals who actually have access to the Kim system. Now, in that system, the information that you're talking about, a lot of this stuff is available so that people could actually find out what the source is and the origin, right, of a lot of the issues. Because the military and the intelligence agencies, they know who's guilty, right? They know George Soros. His name was on the the aerosol cans that came in that were contaminated and things like that. So that's something that could dramatically empower the people if they actually knew what was happening, right? If I'm looking at that right.
I'm sorry, say that again. I just got a message and I thought was kind of strange.
So I was asking about the key intelligence and military system. Once that's made available to the life force, the key individuals, that's information that some of the information that you're sharing that people are not privy to. That's information that people don't realize they've heard in rumors and blogs, but it's recorded in the actual system, right? So that people could validate and they would know when, if there's a militant group that's trying to tear down a statue, or an anarchist group that's trying to tear down a statue, if they pull those individuals, they'd be able to know if they're connected to George Soros potentially, or somebody like that. That information is actually available in the system, right?
It is. We need to select key individuals, perhaps from each state, each area, or however you want to structure that. And that's for all the people on the call. We can make the Kim system available to any static IP. Tom and I have done it for a private group that we're trying to help. And then they claim they got the information, then they didn't get the information. And then, sometimes these people, these agency folks, think this is a game. They just want to see if I can do something. I feel like David Copperfield, trying to make the Statue of Liberty disappear, for those that are old enough to remember that. But the point is that it's available. There's a lot of sensitive information in there. We can issue clearance levels, by the way. I have given Tom over here majestic clearance level so that none of these agency guys can ever question him again. So it's possible. We can do all of this stuff, but we need to be organized. We need to be as organized as they are, more organized than they are, I hope, and structured, and we need to get the job done. So we're open to listening to all of you guys that have a lot more experience in the physical security and protection, that have done, our veterans, our ex-agency folks, or wherever you hail from. But we do have all the tools. We just need people that are willing to use them. To answer Neil from Australia, Team David Rea, that is actually Bubba and Larry Large and Barry Biggums, was busted by us and the Kim system. He runs child pornography sites. And then you can link through the child pornography site to a server that's protected by a company called KPMG. And that server is actually a child auction site out of Lithuania. I downloaded all the information to a specific person in the FBI that was working with Mr. Melville, or that is working with Mr. Melville. I uploaded all these disgusting photos of things that you never ever want to see a child go through. It's awful. It's not just sexual assault. It's also sleeping with children after they're dead. It's awful. And about 3 weeks go by, they were all gung-ho. They're like, this is terrible. They had their cyber unit involved. Everything was going. And then all of a sudden, they pulled Tom aside in a private meeting and told him, hey, we can't pursue this. We've had several Democratic senators call us and say to stop the investigation immediately. So that is David Rea, known as the head of Team Bubba. So Team Bubba came after me after we submitted these files. So he's not a whistleblower. That's whistleblowers.org or whatever. That he's not a whistleblower. He is actually a puppet for the Democratic Party. So maybe he deals with other party members and other people and whatever else too. I don't know. But the only thing I can tell you is that, was it 3 or 4, Tom, Democratic senators that called that FBI office and told him to stop the investigation? 3. Okay, he can't unmute. Yep. So that's who they are. KPMG is also deep state, by the way. They do all the audits on the Treasury and the Fed. Wow, what a coincidence. They also have an NGO office in New York that has every IT person from every major banking institution in the United States, and they claim it's to protect us against fraud, but I can honestly tell you it's to protect us against receiving any money too. That's a fact. You know, they're an NGO with a cooperative effort with the FBI, and they're supposed to be the banking system cybersecurity unit. Yeah. Well, they're protecting us from being from
Being
not
wealthy.
being broke. Thank you.
Yeah, right.
You know,
Exactly.
I
Yes.
appreciate all your hard work, FBI. Thank you. You know,
All right. Well, I think that tells the story. So basically, we need a real enforcement unit because we currently don't have one. And that's all of the groups that we would think should protect us, in fact, operate in their own best interest. They fail to follow through on real criminal activity and the highest, high-level crimes. And there needs to be some enforcement because if not, they will just continue to devour every resource of the life force of the people. So it's time for the people to come together. All right, Kim, that was excellent. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Everyone, I will download this immediately and I will make this publicly available. I will specifically target different groups so that they get it, and I would ask you to do the same. Please reach out to all the veterans, all the civilian task force groups and civilian defense groups, concerned individuals who are willing to take a stand. Please get this out and let's actually make it go viral. I think the information here shared shows the value that will happen if we come together as a life force. So that's all she wrote. Kim, thank you so much. Lisa, thanks so much. And everyone, thank you so much for coming out tonight.
Thank you, Tank. Good night, everybody.
All right.
good night.